Yo, welcome back to the SHU Program. Jay, how you been, man? It's been a minute.
Yep, I am great. I am great. Yeah.
We've actually had a lot of good news, a lot of breaking news happen over the past couple of weeks since we've done our last podcast. So I think we should just hop right in and get to the main thing I think that we want to talk about, and that is the FTC versus Xbox. As we all know by now, Xbox won. Well, I guess they will say it's not over with yet, but they won an important case against the FTC so that the deal could go through. Um, Jay, what were your thoughts just basically on everything that went down?
Well, I'm happy that the judge on this case, uh, you know, made her decision rightfully. And at first we could really come off as biased because we do primarily play Xbox, but a lot of this stuff wasn't making sense, and I do feel a lot of this was some kind of collusion going on with the FTC and Sony. First off, but I'm glad the judge saw through those things because a lot of the FTC's accusations and defenses were really catered to um, what how Call of Duty being on how Microsoft's ownership of Call of Duty and other Activision titles, but primarily Call of Duty, would affect PlayStation negatively, and she saw through that, and she realized that uh, Xbox and Microsoft's ownership of Activision Blizzard wouldn't really change the landscape, especially if Call of Duty is still going to be on both consoles, which makes sense because, as me and EJ, Call of Duty makes a lot of its money not just off the game itself, but through its microtransactions. Um, that's where a lot of the bulk of that money comes from. That makes Call of Duty its money, and it would be stupid of
Hmm.
Microsoft to not allow PlayStation users to play the game and also buy those microtransactions. That's free money right there. It
Yep.
doesn't make sense. So I'm glad the judge saw through those things and saw through the FTC's weak arguments, um, about those things. And we got a lot of interesting takes. There was one little quote from Microsoft where the Microsoft president came out and said that they're willing to spin Sony out of business. Everybody was saying that wasn't a good look, and then also Jim Ryan, CEO of PlayStation, our PlayStation president, he had an email that came out and said that they didn't want to deal with Microsoft after Phil Spencer, Xbox boss, offered them a 10-year deal.
Hmm.
A 10-year deal where they would ensure that Call of Duty games would be on PlayStation. And Jim Ryan straight up said, I don't want to do it. I just want to block your merger. So there was just a bunch of behind the scenes. I kind of want to say corrupt, but it's not really corrupt. It's just well, maybe it's corrupt from the FTC's part because I do feel like there are some inner workings behind the scenes with Sony and the FTC. But
I agree.
Sony doesn't want to give Call of Duty up, and they tried to do everything they could, and now I feel like the judge has made the best decision and the the moral decision, which was the right one, in my opinion. So we
Yep.
live.
Yep. I agree. I mean, it was just weird how, like you said, I mean, they're basing it off of one game, and I understand that that one game is important to them. The main thing that was always just worried me and was just like, this doesn't make any sense is, like you were saying, they're not going to make it exclusive because they're going to lose way too much money. I forget what the figure was that they said that they stand to lose if they were to go exclusive and not include Sony on Call of Duty. Do you remember what that number was?
I don't
I
remember.
think it was in. I think it was maybe like the 200 million, something like that. But um, it's stupid for you to honestly think that they would make that an exclusive and lose out on all that money for Microsoft. I think personally, the main thing that they're worried about was just all the stupid exclusive stuff that Sony gets. Like, before the game's released, there's always special skins and beta testing where only PlayStation could do it, and that was always dumb to me because it's just like, we all play the game. There should be nothing special about Sony getting preferential treatment when it comes to Call of Duty. So I'm happy that they're going to win the case. I don't really see any of the implications as far as the whole cloud gaming thing that the CMA is trying to say that they see, which is why they didn't approve it initially. And like a lot of people were saying, and the lawyers were saying, that market isn't even established yet for them to even have to be able to make a ruling based off of the cloud gaming scene. Because, I mean, people do game in the cloud. I mean, it's not like it's non-existent, but we haven't gotten to the point to where everything is going through the cloud right now. And I think it'll be a while before it gets to that point. So I think Microsoft won. I think the fair ruling was called by the judge for sure. I'm just interested to see what they do with newer games that are coming down the line, because I think we all know they got the whole 10-year deal or whatever. I think you decided, or you said that Microsoft decided to do just Call of Duty and not any other Activision games. So it'll be interesting to see if there's new IPs that come out. Are those going to be exclusive to Microsoft, or are they going to be able to go to PlayStation too? So that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, is seeing what comes of the new IPs, because they got some new stuff in the works. I think one of the devs said, like, after the ruling, we've been working on a bunch of stuff and we found they're able to, or getting ready to show y'all what we've been working on now. So whatever they're working on or whatever these new games are going to be, I'm interested to see how that's going to affect Sony and what those games will be. So it'll be interesting.
Yes, no, that's true. I think I mean, of course, it's Activision Blizzard. They have a lot of games. I think even World of Warcraft has a possibility to coming over to maybe they can make an Xbox version or something like that. Maybe, who knows? Diablo, currently, we can see Diablo fully being a Xbox exclusive in the future. But it's a bunch of there's a bunch of opportunity there. But I think 10 years is a great time to take advantage of that for Sony, so Sony can do their own thing and develop their own shooter. I remember I was reading some comments and there were some tweets of people saying, okay, well, that's fine. Let them have Call of Duty. Let the Xbox have Call of Duty. Let Sony take over Battlefield and fix Battlefield up, and they can compete again or something like that.
Go ahead. They can have Battlefield.
So, it's time. It's just and it kind of makes Jim Ryan look stupid, because now he did accept a 10-year deal.
Yep.
Now, so, and then there was also things that that came out, like when Phil Spencer was emailing Jim Ryan initially, and it was talking about working out a deal with Sony. Jim Ryan did this big email rebuttal where he's like, well, we're willing to entertain a deal if it also includes other games that other games like Bethesda games. So it was just like Sony was just trying to put Xbox in a lose-lose situation. Like, Sony truly felt like they had a lot of pull, and to me, that's why I feel like there's a bunch of behind the scenes going on with the FTC, because Sony really felt like there was no way Microsoft was going to win this case, and they were surprised. So I do think that the things that helped Microsoft was the fact that they did a deal with the NVIDIA GeForce, where they allowed a lot of their games to be available in the cloud. They also did a 10-year deal. Yeah, exactly. So that was smart. That was smart. Now, after these 10 years are over,
that is a good point. I'm interested to see that too, because I mean, if they get to a point where Microsoft is just raking in money from the Activision games plus what they got going on with Bethesda, it'll be interesting to see if they can afford to lose out on that Sony money. But we'll have to just wait and see. Right. Honestly, I'm interested to see how games like Starfield are going to do, and whenever we get to the next Elder Scrolls and the next Fallout, because I mean, those are huge games, man. I mean, I know Starfield is a new IP, so this is different, and if it does blow it out the park when it does release, that's just another game that won't be on PlayStation. But Elder Scrolls, everybody plays that. So
Right, you definitely
um,
do.
I'm pretty sure those are going to be exclusives. So it'll just be
I
interesting to
think they
see
are.
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I think.
mean,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say you finally have a reason to buy an Xbox for those games because in the future, we always found ways or found reasons why to buy a PlayStation. Like I found a reason why to buy a PS5 so I could get God of War, Spider-Man 2, all the exclusives. Now you people who are on their side are like, well, I got to get an Xbox so I can play Starfield, so I can play Elder Scrolls, so I can play Fallout. Like that's healthy when it's like it's not everybody just trying to get PlayStation so they can play PlayStation games. You know what I mean? So
Right, right.
I'm just interested to see that in the future for sure.
No, then I agree with that. I think I think multi-platform games like Call of Duty that has online features that are really online games that you can play with your friends and has a lot of microtransactions. I think those games will always be available for multi-plat. For other systems. I think it's smart for Microsoft to make them always available to PlayStation players, just like how
Yep.
Minecraft is. But the games like you said, Fallout. I mean Fallout or Elder Scrolls. I'm sorry, I just from this point on, I think I don't see that being on PlayStation ever again. So I think that's exclusive. I
Yeah.
think that's it.
Yeah.
And you just like you can only you want to play Spider-Man or any of those Marvel games that's coming out now. Um, that would be on like God of War. That's it. It's the same thing. You're gonna go play Spider-Man on PlayStation. You're gonna be playing Elder Scrolls on Xbox. So
Yep.
that's it.
Right.
That's it.
Um, so interesting, just to finish off this segment, interesting thing I heard is people are saying that Microsoft and PlayStation are not done buying, developers or buying these develop based companies. If there's a company that you would like to see Microsoft or PlayStation buy, especially for Xbox, for us since we mostly play Xbox anyway, what's a company that you would think or that you would like to see Xbox buy?
Man,
I have one,
that's
but
a
I'm,
good
I'm
question.
interested to see if it's the same one that you're thinking.
You probably thinking Sega. You
Well, I wasn't thinking. Well, okay. So here's the thing. I don't really play. I mean, when I think of Sega, I just think of Sonic. That's it. So for
Yeah,
me, it's like if you buy Sega, what else you gonna give me besides new Sonic games? You know what I mean? I think it
well,
would be big business for Microsoft as far as money wise because
yeah,
that's a huge game in itself. It's like the Mario version, like the Mario for Sega is Sonic. So um,
you're right.
it'd be big for them. Now for me, they may not win me over, but they would win a lot of people over for sure.
Well, I have two, but I think I'm gonna say the first one that goes to my head would be, of course, Square Enix, and we're gonna talk about that later. But
Yeah.
I think Square Enix, would be a great pickup. But also, I kind of don't want to see Square Enix, solely on the exclusively the Xbox because Square Enix is a Japanese company. It has a big history with PlayStation, so I like Square Enix being available to both consoles because of that history being on PlayStation. Final Fantasy VII was PlayStation. It wasn't Xbox. So
Yeah.
but if there's a company, especially a Japanese company that I'm thinking of, it would be Konami. I think I would love to
Konami will
see
be fine. Yeah.
uh I would love to see like Xbox take over the Metal Gear series and
Hmm.
those games and games like Yu-Gi-Oh, all those Konami games and take those over and revitalize that series because I just don't and especially now that Microsoft is definitely working with Hideo Kojima now and maybe he could put him back on the Metal Gear series, who knows. So I would love to
Yep.
see I would love to see
Yep.
Konami. I think Konami would be a big one.
That's what's up. For me, this company is owned by EA, and I don't think Microsoft. I'm not gonna say Microsoft's not big enough to own EA because Microsoft can pretty much buy what they want to buy. But if they could buy an individual game studio, like maybe pull it away from EA, I would love to see them get BioWare. and then just pretty much be the house for RPGs forever. Because I mean, if you get Bethesda and BioWare, I mean, what else? What other company is making RPGs like that besides, Japanese companies with, Square Enix and stuff like that? So, I mean, to see a exclusive Mass Effect 5 or 4, whatever they're gonna call this new one, and then so what's the other game that y'all had me play that took me a while? Was Dragon Age. Dragon Age. Yeah. So I mean, if those games to be exclusives for, man, you talk about people having to buy Xbox, like that would do it.
No, you're right, because you're 1% right. I didn't think about BioWare like that. I really did, because man, when Mass Effect came out, it was exclusive to Xbox. It was an Xbox exclusive, and
the first one
later on, the first Mass Effect, it was exclusive to Xbox, and then later on, they put it out on PlayStation. So I can see it returning back to its roots. And then Knights of the Old Republic from BioWare and EA, that was Xbox exclusive. So
see that, I mean, especially in today's day and age with those games being Xbox exclusives, like I'm telling you, they wouldn't make up all the market share that they've lost to PlayStation, but they would make up quite a bit. I mean, people would have to get an Xbox to play these games, and it would just be like us, like who own both. There would be a lot of people who would start to, or at least adults who can afford it, people getting both systems, or just a kid that plays games, as a young child, like they would have to really think about which system they want to buy, since they can only probably get one. So it would be like, do I really want to get a PlayStation, or am I going to get an Xbox where I can play all these, Mass Effect and Fallout and all that stuff? So that would be interesting, man. It would be crazy if they found a way to get BioWare from EA. But yeah, that would be fire to me.
Gotcha.
But bringing up Square Enix, more big news. Final Fantasy is coming to Xbox. Now, I know this is really big in your arena, so I'll let you talk a little bit more about it. But not only is Final Fantasy coming, but they're saying that more games down the line will be coming to Xbox as well. How you feel about that?
So this is good, because Xbox had a lot of the Final Fantasies from, I want to say, even started from Final Fantasy 12. I think even Final Fantasy 11. I don't know if you know about Final Fantasy 11, but Final Fantasy 11 was a big MMORPG. It was the first Final Fantasy MMORPG, and it was on Xbox. I don't think it was exclusive to Xbox, but it was like one of the selling points of the Xbox 360 at one point in the Xbox. And ever since then, pretty much every Final Fantasy had come to Xbox. But then after Final Fantasy 15, the last one, we're not getting 16 on the Xbox. So we got a new Final Fantasy coming out right now. Well, it's already out right now, Final Fantasy 16, and now that's exclusive to PlayStation. I'm not sure if it's a timed exclusive. It hasn't been announced if it's a timed exclusive, but as of right now, it looks like it's just purely exclusive to PlayStation. So, and we did also Final Fantasy 14, which is the latest, of course, is the new MMORPG in the series, has been exclusive to PlayStation for a long time now, and I'm still wondering why that has never come to Xbox. So there's some rights or whatever. PlayStation must have won some kind of bid for those games, I guess. And but yeah, I'm glad to see that Xbox and Square Enix are kind of repairing their relationship now. Maybe because of this merger, it helped, I guess. But it's good to see, because I would love to play. I would love to play, Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox. My brother, he played it for a long time on PlayStation, and I just wasn't getting on PlayStation like that. And I was like, man, I wonder why this game couldn't have been on Xbox. Now it's good to see that it's finally coming. A little bit too late now, but still, I'll take what I can get. And I hope that this announcement means that we will eventually be getting Final Fantasy 16 on the Xbox, which sucks because I just recently got Final Fantasy 16 on the PlayStation, so that sucks.
Right. I mean,
So
honestly, you're talking to someone who played one Final Fantasy in his entire life. That was the one with Cloud. I'm forgetting which one that was.
Final Fantasy
Um,
Seven.
that's the only Final Fantasy I've ever played, and I played it at a friend's house over a weekend. So I've never owned Final Fantasy. So I mean, to me, it's great news. I know that they're big games, and that's great for people who love those games. I'll probably try to get into them in the future if they do come to Xbox. So when 14 comes, I'll probably check it out. If I would love them to put it on Game Pass, that would be even better because I don't have to pay for it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great news. More games from them down the line too, from Square Enix. So be interesting to see what those games are. But yeah, I think it's great news, and it's good for Xbox gamers for sure.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. We'll probably hit. Well, I'm just say this. We'll take some time out of the podcast for sure to talk about this because I know this is near and dear to Jay's heart for sure, and that is the UFO and the UAP congressional hearing that happened this week. Um, I don't know where you were, but I remember they just announced it like at a weird time. It was probably like 9 o'clock at night, and I heard like, "Oh, it's happening tomorrow," and then I cut it on, and you were already watching it the next day. So, um, I think the best way to describe people on the podcast, Marvin excluded, just for this one for today, but you got to think of us as kind of like characters from the X-Files. While you would 100% be Mulder for sure, if this was real life, I would definitely be Scully 100%. So that for anyone listening, that is kind of where we are as far as in terms of this subject of UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them now. But passing it to you for a sec, because I know we've had our external conversations about UFOs and UAPs. How do you think it went? I know you were saying that it was a historic case for sure, since nothing ever has been, that far up in the chain before in the courts. So just talk a little bit about that and just what it meant for them to have that congressional hearing this week.
Can I make a side joke before I get to details? See,
yeah.
Dory gets tired of my UFO comments, my UFO stuff too. And I was telling her last night, I said, I don't know if we even should move to Atlanta anymore because, we recently read an article where there's been some private corporation that found a UFO spaceship or whatever, supposedly some private corporation crash and retrieval program all the way in Long Beach, California. I was like, they're here capturing UFOs in Long Beach? I was like, damn. It did.
Well, they had the Battle of Los Angeles and all that, all that stuff back in the day. And
exactly.
So yeah.
The majority of those incidents that they talked about to hear what happened in California, surprisingly. But but I was telling Dory, I was like, well, then I said, well, I was thinking Atlanta would be a good place to move, but then we found out that there's a big giant red square the size of a football field was seen off the coast of was seen on the Gulf Coast. I was like, damn, nowhere we go, they everywhere. So
they're everywhere. They are from Alaska to everywhere in the United States. Yep.
But yeah, this interests me because we had three guys. This is a very historic moment in my opinion. We had three Navy commanders or Navy military men testify about their experiences with UFOs, UAPs. Former Navy pilot Ryan Graves, Commander David Fravor. Two of those guys, I believe, were part of the Top Gun program. So like Top Gun Maverick, you know what I'm saying? It was up there with Tom Cruise. They had real Tom Cruises. They were, so these are the guys. If if they see something in the air flying, I feel like they would know what's going on. And then the biggest one that everybody really wanted to hear from was it was a former Air Force intelligence officer named David Grush. And he's pretty much the only one out of all the three that's really saying, hey, we have alien bodies, we have alien spaceships, we have a top secret crash and retrieval program where we have people that these things crash on our planet. We go pick them up, we reverse engineer them, and all kind of. Sometimes we have dead bodies, sometimes they're alive, and we have knowledge of it. Everything has been all this information has been compartmentalized to where a lot of the top officials in Congress and in the government don't even have access to it. And if you try to get access to it, you get denied, no matter your top secret clearance or what. So it's just like all these top secret shit going on in Congress. What was amazing about this hearing was this was basically Congress saying, like, who do we need to contact? Who do we need to find to get this information from? Give me all your sources, because we're going to start breaking down walls to get this information. Because, there's a lot of bureaucrats in the government that's kind of hiding this information. What walls do we need to break down to get to the bottom of this? Because not only is this a national security issue, but now we're finding out that a lot of taxpayers' monies in the trillions of dollars are being spent on these black programs that a lot of top members of Congress don't even have knowledge or access to. And that's why this was so big. So it's like I was telling EJ and Marv in our private chat, is really bigger than just aliens. It's really top secret stuff that's being hidden from people that should have access to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, well, who's really controlling this? And like EJ said, if you watch the X-Files, Mulder and Scully go through these things, and they work. The X-Files is literally a program within the government that tries to investigate all these weird supernatural and extraterrestrial things, and the whole time there's a secret black government within the government, and so and that's pretty much what this was exposing. So it's like I said, so it's bigger than just aliens. It's like, okay, we need this time for these black programs. It needs to stop. So they're investigating. But Ryan Graves, he's one of the pilots that was on one of the battleships. He was on a ship where some of his pilots were coming in contact with an object that he describes was a triangle. I mean, was it a triangle, or it was a diamond shaped or square object inside of a I'm getting this wrong. I think I'm describing this wrong. I think it was a diamond shaped object or a triangle shaped object inside of a square a sphere or something like that, or a sphere inside of it's some weird shit. It's some weird shit that his pilots were flying by some object that was going at supersonic speeds, and it when he describes it, I don't know how you feel, EJ, it sounds like a drone to me. It sounds like some super advanced drone that we've probably never heard of. And he also believes that it may be some type of advanced technology that we just don't have knowledge of right now. It may be some top secret from another country. So he's not necessarily saying it's alien. But then we also have we have Commander David Fravor, who witnessed the Tic Tac incident, which was an object off the coast of San Diego, where he was on the USS Nimitz in 2004. This is way back in 2004, mind you, not 2021, not 2020, 2004. I was like 13, 12 years older then. But a Tic Tac object it was Tic Tac shape, or the best way he says, it was basically a giant propane tank flying and doing all kind of maneuvers, going in and out the water and stuff like that. And he's saying, I don't know what this shit is. I don't know if it's alien. I don't know if it's alien. I don't know if it's some advanced tech. I don't, from a different country. I don't know if it's some experimental type stuff that Americans are doing. Whatever it is, and maybe he does give some credit to it being alien. He was saying whatever it is nothing he has seen, or he believes that any human has engineered on this planet. Or so far that we have knowledge of. He said he believes it's 100 years ahead of the technology that he witnessed. That's like 100 years in the future type stuff that we won't we have to 100 years. So, these are top people in government, in the military, that are coming out saying they've witnessed these things, and they're also, it's just those three, but they're representing people under them also experience things. Right. So, I think EJ, what was your views on it? I thought it was, my final thing on it was basically, I thought whether we of course, I think we should be skeptic. We should always be skeptic on it. But I think it was good to hear, because usually whenever we bring UFOs and UAPs up, it's a laughable thing. Everyone jokes about it and stuff like that, and it's never taken seriously. So I'm the type of guy that's like, I don't want us to take things seriously when it's too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd rather really take it seriously now, and I think that's what we're finally doing. Is it real? Who knows?
Gotcha. So I'm just gonna be real. I mean, like I said, we've had conversations off the podcast about all these events, and Jay is definitely the first person to send the first article anytime it's out about UFOs or UAPs to the group chat, for sure. I grew up watching X-Files, and for those who don't know, X-Files is like a top 5 television show of all time for me. I love that show. I've seen every episode, all 11 seasons. Both movies that came out, the little FX movie that came out too, I've seen all of them. Like, I've always loved X-Files. It's just been a thing since I was a kid that I've, for some reason, been interested in extraterrestrials, all that kind of stuff, even as a kid. I think where, like I mentioned earlier, where me and you differ is, I think Jay is more of the I want to believe Mulder with the sign on his wall, and I'm definitely more of like the Scully, where there has to be explanations for a lot of this. Not saying everything, but for a lot of this, I think there is like a lot of explanations, and I think people like to take it to the fantastical when sometimes there's actually explanations for why things are going on that's actually happening. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I will say, I do. There are certain things, certain conspiracies that I do believe in, and certain things, because I mean, being a human, you have to believe in some conspiracy theories, because some shit just don't add up. You know what I mean? With the aliens and stuff, I mean, I don't know, man. It's I think personally that there's different ways you can look at it. I think first and foremost, for me, I do think that our government has gotten to a point, and not just our government, governments around the world have gotten to a point to where they can make stuff and make like drones and aircrafts that can do a lot of stuff that we didn't think they could do. Now, I don't know if if they've been making these since the 50s and 40s or whenever people have been saying they've been seeing this stuff, but I do think that there is a point to where now we can make stuff that can do things that people didn't think that we could actually do, like, ships that can fly and then stop on a dime and move backwards. Now, I don't think that those are manned ships per se. I think a lot of what people are seeing are drones and being controlled from somewhere else in the world, or being controlled from somewhere else, anywhere in the country, etc. A lot of what they were saying was interesting. Old boy in the middle, I'm forgetting his name right now. Was it Grush, the main guy that kept saying Grush. He couldn't say anything? That was pissing me off. And I get that he is like we joked around, he probably got the MIB outside his house for sure, which he probably does. But he can't say anything because he has the whole case going on, the whistleblower case. And so I get that. It's just, when I see stuff like that, I'm interested. I'm definitely reminded of X-Files, because it was like, you always got Mulder going on to these hearings, and the people asking him questions like, hey, did you see this? And, as the viewer of the show, we saw Mulder see it. But when he goes to court, he can't say nothing about it because he got people watching him. And, he doesn't want to be a whistleblower and stuff like that. So that guy reminded me for sure of Mulder. And it was just like, every time he kept saying, I can tell you, but off air. I can tell you, but I can't say it in the setting and stuff like that. So it was funny, but it's just interesting too, because it's just like, he obviously feels that there's some stuff going on. The other two guys on the outside, both of the other guys that were with him, to me seemed a little more grounded. They didn't understand exactly what it was, but some of them were, I'm forgetting exactly which one, but he thought that a lot of it was government manned vehicles or government vehicles, as opposed to Grush, the dude in the middle, who was just like, nope, it's aliens. Like that's why I was just more of like, okay, let's just chill out on that for just a sec. What was interesting though was when the lady asked him about, did they find any bodies, or was there any kind of bodies in the vehicles that they found? And social media and everybody is running with it now, basically just saying that he confirmed aliens, saying that they found non-human bodies in some of the aircrafts that they've retrieved. So that kind of brings me back to like, or reminds me of Roswell. You know, when people were saying it was a weather balloon, and then certain people were saying they didn't find bodies in the Roswell incident. Some people were saying they did. For me, when it comes to like the whole alien part, I think that it's just you're gonna have to have proof of that. And there's not gonna have to. You can't tell anybody that exists. You'd have to show them. And so, for a lot of people, you know, like I say, look back to X-Files and think about Scully. She was just like, I got to see this stuff. You know, I'm sorry, but I can go off word, but I do need to see it. And I think for that particular, for them to say extraterrestrials do exist, there needs to be some kind of proof. Like if you don't even show a body, you got to show something that proves it without a shadow of a doubt. So, like I said, I'm a little less high on the guy on Grush, and the other two, I kind of feel where they're coming from. I didn't think it was as historical as you did. I mean, I know that you broke it down and it fits that bill for that court case, for the court congressional hearing, for them to actually do it on aliens. Cause like you said, you know, it's been a taboo subject to bring up and people don't really talk about it that much. But I mean, I think it was interesting. I think it was needed to have, because, you know, I think a lot of people see these things, especially people in the military. And so now they can get some kind of sense of, you know, I'm not the only person who is seeing these type of things. But it's just going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. I know he kept telling people on the panel that I'll talk to you after the hearing and all this other stuff like that. Like, I think he told AOC, she asked him a question about it, and she was like, well, can you tell me this, and that? He's like, I can't tell you now, but I can tell you after the hearing. So I'm interested to see if he actually talked to those people, if we're ever going to hear what he told them, and what happens moving forward from this. Because the thing is, this is great. And the cynical in me comes out now, like I was saying in the text the other day. It's like we have this, and this is like, you know, groundbreaking for us to have a congressional hearing about this. But if we don't hear anything for the next 5 to 10 years about anything, then this was for nothing. And not only was it for nothing, but X-Files was more true to me than like a lot of stuff that I've seen. Because it's just like you were saying earlier, there are these governments within the government that is trying to keep this stuff a secret, or whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's aliens or not. Even like for myself, I think a lot of it is just tech. They're just trying to keep this stuff secret because they just don't want the stuff to get out. Right. And if this stuff is what it is, whether it's aliens, whether it's this crazy technology that they have, they're not gonna let y'all know about it. And I don't care if AOC talk about it. I don't care if Rush get up there and start spilling. They're only gonna let this dude spill so much, and he can go on social media and he can try to blow it up and he can do what he want to do. I'm not gonna wish death upon nobody. I'm not doing none of that. All I'm saying is he needs to be careful. X-Files is real. Those people they just go missing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not saying he shouldn't speak up, because he should, especially if it's something that's near and dear to his heart. He said something the other day, I think, about something happened to his wife. Did you hear that part, Jay? About
yeah.
Something happened to his wife, or something I didn't hear. He spoke on it very briefly and then moved on. But so yeah, go ahead and speak your truth, man. But my thing is, like, if I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna be the whistleblower, and I'm gonna expose the government for not showing us aliens, I have to know that this is a crusade that I could possibly die for. So I'm going to tell y'all everything. Something happens to me, right. Something happens to me. But it's like those people that are gonna do that, they're gonna have to just go all out and not worry about what happens to them. I know that's hard to say, because obviously people have families and they got people that they care about. So it's like, you can't just, but it's like, honestly, man, if you really trying to expose the stuff, you just gonna have to come out and do it. If not, these companies, these secret agencies, whatever you want to call it, you know, you got the smoking man and X-Files, like these people over these companies, man, they ain't gonna let this stuff get out. Like, and if they do let stuff get out, it's gonna be what they want us to know about at certain times. But right. Marv made a good point in the chat, like he said, and it's the truest thing Marv has said in the group chat in a long time, bro. And that is, the world is not ready for that. Not just America, but no one is ready for that. And the government, or whoever these people who are over these shadow companies, they know it, I know it, so I know that they know it. We ain't ready for that. Not right now. We're not. Like we still got crazy stuff that we got going on. Just as humans interacting with humans. You know what I mean? So whether it is aliens or if it's just crazy tech, it's going to get out when it gets out. And I think, like you said, this was an important case, but I'm just interested to see what happens next.
Right. And my last thing I'll say on it is a lot of the cases that they talk about in here, I mean, a lot of the stuff, I told y'all in chat, I believe a lot of it is drones. I believe it is American technology. And that, to me, part of that kind of excites me, because I'm like, to know that we're that advanced, because my affinity for like space travel and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a lot of that is us, is really us. But I think there's some of that stuff where, I just don't think Roswell was a weather balloon. I'm sorry. You just don't come out and say something was a flying saucer that crashed, and then the next day it was a weather balloon. That's bullshit. So
I agree with you on that.
So, but I definitely agree with you. I definitely 100% agree with you. I think I kind of think about, I try to put myself in Grush's shoes and think, okay, what's stopping me from just telling everybody everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not just fuck the consequences. Just let's get it out. If I really want the American public to know, this is the time. Because here's the thing: even if Congress does get the access, are they going to really tell us? Like you said, that don't mean shit. Y'all got the information. That don't mean the American public gonna get the information. So,
exactly.
So that's true. So, but also think about the people that he's representing, because a lot of this information was secondhand knowledge. It was passed on to him. A lot of these things he didn't see himself. So. Mm-hmm. So it's people that he's protecting, and I think that's why he really can't come out. Well, one of the reasons he really can't come out and say a lot of this stuff, because he's truly protecting other people. So unless there's some type of way for all of those people that can come out and do it safely, first of all, we know it. If it's real, it ain't no way. Nobody's safe. So ain't nobody safe.
Right.
I read a story the other day where a dude was about to come out. He was some kind of military vet. He came out and said that he was witness to a crash retrieval program, and he saw the ship and everything. He was gonna come out in front of Congress and talk about it. And the next day he died by a car crash. So yeah, so like this stuff really happens.
I'm telling you, bro. Like, yeah, I say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if you ask like my sister, people in my family, they'll say I am a conspiracy, because I watch videos on YouTube about all this kind of stuff. Like I watched all this kind of stuff, and I've seen, you've heard the stuff about even like stuff that's like not even extraterrestrial. Like there's an article about this dude who created the first water-based driving car where it could run off of water instead of running off of
hydrogen.
Yeah. So, and this would shut down the whole industry if this dude was able to get this mass produced, right? So the dude had the idea, the dude came with it, he had people that were going to back him. Next thing you know, dude died of a heart attack at a young age, and he was very healthy. Nothing was wrong with him. He just died and stuff. So like when I read stuff like that, you have no choice but to be a conspiracy theorist at that point, because it's just like stuff like that happens. And I know if that'll happen off stuff that just affects the economy, imagine what people would go through and the links that they would go through about UFOs or UAPs or, government technologies that they don't want to get out. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, I know David is doing his thing, and then this is great for him to step up and speak out and stand up for these other people. At the same time, just be careful. Like, movies, people don't understand, like, movies are entertainment, and that is very true, and television is entertainment. But a lot of stuff behind these movies and behind these television shows is real shit, man. Like X-Files, and it's just like people thought of these ideas, and these ideas just didn't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they have grand ideas, but like the basis of the stuff that they're doing, it comes from something. So it's like, bro, all I'm saying is just be careful, do it the right way, and in time, this stuff will come out. But if you try to force it, they're not going to let, I'm telling you, they're not going to let stuff get out that they don't want to get out. And so it's going to get out when it gets out. It's basically where I'm going with it. So Um,
That's true.
yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah, it was big. It was big this week for them to do that. And like I said, it was just weird that it came up out of nowhere because I didn't even know it was happening until like late one night, and then it was like, oh, it's happening tomorrow morning. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody else comes out, like if AOC comes out and says anything, because apparently she was supposed to talk to him and other people were supposed to talk to him. So, me personally, I think once he says something to him, whoever the shadow company is or whoever the people are in the government that already know about it are gonna be like, yo, now that you know, don't say shit. If you say something, there's gonna be a problem. So, I think, like you said, that's what's gonna happen. They'll find out about it, but now they can't say nothing about it. So, yeah.
Well, that's why the public has to keep their interest on it. But but a lot of people, I think the problem today is we're going through our own issues today.
Exactly.
With the economy and a lot of people out of work. So yeah, the UFO thing may be interesting, but right now someone told me I still got to pay rent.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
I was just about to tell you that. I was just about to say that. I saw something on Instagram. This dude that I follow, and he was like, "Bro, I'm gonna be real with you. The alien stuff was very interesting, but that is probably the fifth or the sixth thing down the line of stuff I got to worry about every day." You know what I'm talking about? Like,
right.
That's important, but bro, I got to worry about paying bills. I got to worry about, as Black people, we got to worry about racism from other people. So it's just like there's so much stuff I got to worry about every day that when I get home and I'm just tired, like I don't have time to worry about when they come to abduct me. And I just started laughing because it's like it's true. It's like there's so much other stuff to worry about right now. It's just but like you said, as long as the people keep talking about it and not let it die, eventually, whether it's extraterrestrials or just advanced technology, it'll come out eventually.
It's true.
Oh, but speaking of movies, man, let's talk about a couple movies really quick. We're not gonna go into them 100% because I haven't seen them yet, but give us a real quick breakdown, Jay, quickly about what you thought about Oppenheimer, what you thought about Barbie, real quick.
Well, I'm gonna go Barbie quick because that was trash. Barbie, guys, I just want to say groupthink is a real powerful thing. Virtual signaling and being worried about being canceled is a real thing because a lot of people are out here praising Barbie, and it's not that good. It's really not that good. I will say the cast was fantastic. I don't think it was any issues with the cast. I think Ryan Gosling, I think Margot Robbie did a great job. Issa did a great job. Simu Liu. Ben, I can't pronounce his name. Ben Adir. The British guy that's he's in Secret Invasion and he's playing Bob Marley. He was pretty good. The black guy, that's also the new Doctor Who. I think he's the first black Doctor Who and also the first black gay Doctor Who, I think. He's in the film. Everybody does a great job in this film. A lot of cameos. Will Ferrell. I mean, not cameos, but other characters in there. America Ferrera is in the film. Will Ferrell's in the film. So, cast was great. It was the story, man. It got boring. It got boring for me. First of all, this is a movie about feminism. It is a feminist movie, and guess what? I don't care. I don't care if it's about feminism. I wanted to, I go to a movie to be entertained. I think about the political aspects later, So,
yep.
And it definitely has a message that it wants to teach everybody. And I just thought that message, the way it was presented to me, was boring. I just wanted to change. I literally fell asleep the majority of the movie. I woke up later. There was some things that made me chuckle, some of the comedy that made me chuckle, but for the most part, there was a bunch of silliness, man. I would start to think maybe they did make this for kids, because this is just fucking a bunch of silliness going on. Like I really don't know. We ended up walking out the theater. Me and Dorian walked out the theater. We asked this one dude what he think. He said that shit was horrible. So, and that's a real quote. And this is a dude that came and had his pink on and everything. You know, everybody was wearing a Barbie. I was, I don't wear pink. I was all in my black as usual. Dorian wore her pink Barbie shirt. This
You could have
dude
wore salmon,
his.
Jay. You could have wore salmon.
Nah, you know me, man. Dark. Everybody know my colors. If you know me, it's almost like I'm gothic, man. It's all dark colors.
Oh, I'm the same. Yeah.
Nah, if I had pink on, it's because I'm having a daughter.
I feel you.
But nah, man, this dude was Barbied out, and he was like, man, that shit was horrible. He was disappointed, and so it is what it is. It just wasn't good. I give it a 1 out of 5. Oppenheimer, man, 5 out of 5, man. Oppenheimer is a masterpiece. Christopher Nolan outdone himself again. It is not just a story about how the atomic bomb was created. It is literally a biopic of Robert J. Oppenheimer himself. The things that he had to go through in the 60s. I mean, not the 60s, the 40s. Dealing with the rise of communism, the issues with the World War II in Nazi Germany and Japan, trying to develop a nuclear weapon before the Germans did. All of these things. Is it the right thing to do? Would creating such a weapon destroy the planet? Was it a weapon that needed to be made? It was like all these philosophical questions. It was more than just, we're making an atomic bomb. It was truly deep. It was a deep, profound film, and the sound was great. I know I heard a lot of people complaining about the sound because Christopher Nolan does have issues with the sound sometimes, like the whole thing with Bane and his speech in Dark Knight Rises. But actually, I didn't have any issues. I saw this in Adobe. I didn't have any issues with the sound. I thought it was great. I think it was loud as fuck though. But that's what you get when you make a movie about the atomic bomb. So
yeah.
But no, I just thought the acting was great. There was, a lot of people don't know that after he made the bomb, he pretty much lost his clearance and was betrayed by a fellow scientist or whatever. So you get a lot of that, and that scientist, I think his name was Dr. Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr. He killed it. Robert Downey Jr. killed it. It was great. I highly recommend Oppenheimer to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I'm actually going to go see it again because it was that damn good. It is probably moved up to maybe my number 3 Christopher Nolan film of all time because I love the shit out of Interstellar. So Interstellar is number 1. I think number 2 is The Dark Knight, and I probably move. I think I've moved Oppenheimer up to number 3 in my favorite Christopher Nolan films of all time.
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't mean to cut you off because my next question to you was: is it safe to say that he's top 2, top 3 directors of all time?
Oh, it's safe. I would say top 3. He's definitely in the top 3.
Because I'm looking at the roster here, and there are no misses, Jay. I mean, and Tenet might be to me like maybe his biggest miss, and that was just because I didn't understand shit from that movie. Even though it was beautiful, the sound was great, the acting was good. I just didn't know what the hell they were talking. But you go all the way back to like Memento, and then all the way forward to Oppenheimer. Like the dude don't miss. Like that's very rare that you can go for this long from 2002 to now, 20-year period, and not really have like a super miss, except for possibly Tenet. And I think that didn't even do as well as because it was during COVID. I think it would have done better if it wasn't during COVID, and if he would have explained the shit. if he would have did both of that, I think it would have did better. But that's good to hear about Oppenheimer, man. I'm definitely going to go see that for sure. I won't see Barbie in theaters. I'll probably wait till that it's on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, just to say I did see it. But yeah, Oppenheimer, being a history guy, I know that was interesting for you, and I'm a history guy as well. So I'll definitely go see it and read more about Oppenheimer for sure. There's a movie you forgot though, and it hurts my heart because it has to be number 1 in Christopher Nolan's movies. It may not be for everybody, but for me, Inception is number 1.
Say that.
That damn movie. I think we talked about it before. Inception when he thought of that, I don't know what the hell he was smoking when he thought that movie, because that was just genius. Like I'm sorry, that the acting was great, the story was great, and it had elements of Interstellar as far as like just like the spectacle, but then it pulled in like that. Well, what about this? What about that? Like different tenants. So it was just like
Yeah.
Inception for me, man. I mean, excluding The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight was just a masterpiece. But if I was going to rank his top three movies, I would say Inception, The Dark Knight, and then like I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, so it's possible it can move up to number three. But for right now, my third is The Prestige right now.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm interested for sure. When I heard that he was doing it, I was like, well, gotta go see it because he don't miss. So
You don't.
I'm gonna have to see it in theaters for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Tenet is definitely the weakest, but it is still a good film. It's just very experimental what he tried to do with that film. Very experimental. But no, you're exactly right. Christopher Nolan has truly not made a bad film as of yet. So that's something to say. So he's definitely getting up there historically.
For sure.
But I think you enjoy Oppenheimer. Definitely would love to hear what you think.
Okay. Yeah. On the next one, we'll recap for sure. Yeah, I forgot the cast was just great too. Robert Downey Jr. and it was in it as well. So
yeah.
And then my girl too. I forget my girl was in the movie. That's one of my favorite actors right
Florence
now.
Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Yes. So she was in it. I got to see how she does.
She was in it. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, man. You watch this movie, then you do your research. Oppenheimer was a very interesting man. Very interesting man. I almost sometimes feel like the movie didn't do him a lot of justice because there's just so much about him. It's like you could do a whole sequel,
Yeah.
Because he was just that interesting. Like he's just a very interesting person. Like I remember people were clapping at the trailer because they saw Albert Einstein in some of the scenes. So they was like clapping him like he was an Avenger or some shit. Albert Einstein. But it's just like, Oppenheimer is up there with Albert Einstein. That's crazy. Like he's up there with him. Yeah. So like the scenes where they have conversations is like very pivotal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, and that was another cool thing because there was another cool thing about this movie is that there was a lot of cameos from other actors. Like Casey Affleck was in the film. The guy from Bohemian Rhapsody, what's his name?
Rami Malek.
Rami Malek was in the film. They weren't in big roles. They was like Christopher Nolan was like, you want to roll? They were like, yep.
Man.
Random people. Like I was like, oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's such and such. That's such and such. They just got 2 minutes of screen time. That's it.
I heard that like someone was on Instagram earlier today, and they were like people that you didn't know were in the movie. And I heard that Josh from Drake and Josh was in the movie. Was he in the movie?
Yes, he's in it.
Yeah. It was like a whole bunch of people from Nickelodeon or something. Like it was like they were like, all these people from Nickelodeon were in Oppenheimer, and they showed like 5 people, and Josh was like the first one. And then they showed a couple other people. I can't remember. It's some shows I've seen when I was a kid, but they were like, "Yeah, all these people were in Oppenheimer," and I was like, "Wow, that's interesting."
I'd have to go back and see. I'd have to go back and see all the other people, but yeah, he was in. He did a great job. He plays one of the scientists. Okay. But nah, man, it's a good movie. Like I would sign up. Like Chris don't call me today. It's like, hey, you wanna? Hey, just one scene. You just doing one day. Shit, I don't care.
Yep. I'm in. Yep. That's what's up, man. Yeah, definitely gonna have to go see that. So y'all got 2 reviews, one bad, one good. But y'all can, take it how y'all take it for sure. Let's switch over to TV. It's something that we both seen, we both finished. Let's talk about Secret Invasion, Jay. I'll say this: valiant effort, but with a lot of misses. Okay. First and foremost, I think you will agree the Rhodey thing was a miss for sure.
Yes.
Clear-cut miss. It's hard to have a character like that who we've known since the first MCU movie in Iron Man. Technically, that's when the Skrull invasion happened, was when he took out Terrence Howard and put in Don Cheadle. If you want to talk about a Skrull taking over, that's technically that's the Skrull part. But you put in Don Cheadle, and we get invested into the character more of Rhodey. He's in Iron Man 2, he's in Iron Man 3, he's in all the Avengers, he's in Captain America Civil War. And then we come to find out, and spoilers for anybody listening because we're going to dive into the show just a little bit. We come to find out that he is actually a Skrull, and it looked like, was it a female that was playing him?
Yeah,
it was. When he was in the mirror, look like it was a female.
No, it was a female Skrull. It was.
Okay. So we come to find out it's a female Skrull that was actually portraying him in the show. Number one, just to talk about this point first, making him a Skrull does a disservice not only to his character, but to other important moments in the MCU. And I say that because if you think back to like Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark died. Spoilers if y'all haven't seen that. You think back to when Tony Stark died and all the people that are going up to him before he, passes away. You got Spider-Man, you got what's her name that played his girlfriend, love interest. She was there, and all people were coming by to basically say like their really last farewell to him. And I remember Rhodey went up to him and was like, had this little heartfelt, couple sentence exchange. And it's just like, he's been with me since the beginning. Like, this is my guy, we come to find out in the show that it seems at least that Rhodey has been a Skrull ever since the end of Captain America Civil War. Is that right, Jay?
Well, that's what the director came out and said, but judging by scenes from Endgame, it's impossible for that to have happened. I believe that the Skrull thing had to happen after Endgame.
I'm with you. I'm just going off.
Remember some of the I don't think the director knows what he's talking about. Because remember the scenes where Thanos attacked the building, the Avengers compound, and then Rhodey was at the bottom of the debris, and he was still hobbling because of his leg braces, and he had red blood going down his face.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I don't want them to do is get into this whole messing up the timeline thing like X-Men did, where this happened here, but then this happened. But how did that happen when this had already happened? Like, I don't want them to Marvel to do that with what happened with Secret Invasion, because if it is true and you're saying that he was a Skrull after Captain America Civil War, none of the moments that involved Rhodey after that mean anything, because it's just like that wasn't truly him. And if you are going to say that, then that means now him coming back as a character, he doesn't remember any of that. So I'm interested to see when Armor Wars comes out, they need to address what happened to him and when it actually happened. That'll clear up a lot.
Right.
Maybe you're saying, Jay, the director has no idea what he's talking about, and they can clear that up in Armor Wars and give us the exact point that it happened, because he'll probably reflect on that leading into the show or the movie or whatever it's going to be. We need to see that. My second gripe would be killing off Maria Hill so nonchalantly in the first episode. It is weird that she kind of like turned on Nick Fury, all of a sudden, and then she just died. But I think they should have gave her a little more runway, for her to express her feelings on Nick going to outer space and just basically leaving her and everybody else in S.H.I.E.L.D. on Earth to deal with everything that was going on. Also, I just find it weird that Nick would just do that and just leave and just ignore the responsibility that he's had. And they made it seem like in the show that, not made it seem, but it is like ever since Carol Danvers came in 94, 92, whenever she came and did the whole the Captain Marvel movie and all that, like, this is something that Nick Fury's been dealing with ever since then. And even though they don't really touch on that in other movies until Secret Invasion, this has been a huge thing that's been going on behind the scenes. And so I just didn't, the weight of it, we never really got a build up to this. Like, I never really saw like an end credit scenes of any of these other movies, like someone's hand turned green or they start bleeding and it's purple. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should have had stuff leading up to this that kind of gave us an idea of where we were headed. And it just seems like it was dropped on us at a moment's notice. And so had an issue with that. My last issue, and then I'm gonna throw it over to you, Jay, is the whole Super Scroll power thing, and just like how they had like 18 different people on there, and how Gravik, who's the big bad of the season, just dies in like 3 minutes. Um,
Yeah.
and they both had the same powers, right? And so,
Right.
seeing old girl go up to him, I'm just gonna call her Khaleesi for not forgetting her name in the show.
Emilia Clarke
Uh,
character.
yeah, Amelia Clark's character. Seeing how quickly she killed him, and then also asking myself, is she the strongest character in Marvel right now?
It
Because
seems like it. It seems like it.
and what is she going to be doing? Is she still going to be helping Scrolls on Earth? Because now the president just went crazy. He basically turned into Trump at the very end and calling on the Proud Boys, telling everybody to go kill everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, which was
Right.
which was a crazy scene because Nick said the same thing. He was just like, "Bro, why did you do that?" You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so that was a crazy scene. So it's interesting to see where they'll go from here. I hate that this is the outing that we got for Nick Fury's like lead role. I feel like he could have done a lot more. I feel like the story should have been integrated way back in other movies and then like dripped until now. Kind of like how Thanos was dripped through all the movies leading up to the first Avengers, and then throughout the Avengers movies until you got to Endgame. So, um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. Marvel's just in a weird place right now. That's all I can say, and it sucks that we're not gonna get any movies or shows anytime soon since all this stuff with the writer strike and everything that's going on. But what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think the biggest thing for me was for a TV show that spent $200 million. This doesn't look like a $200 million show. First off, so I'm not sure who was putting money in their pocket and stealing money from the show, because it didn't go to this show.
Right. I don't know who it went to.
That's $200 million. That's a feature film. So I'm confused. I'm greatly confused to where all the money went. Maybe it went a lot of that money went to marketing, I guess. I don't know. But the other thing too is, man, Samuel Jackson, dude, this show just kind of proved that he isn't as smart as Nick Fury has always supposed to have been, or appeared to have been and perceived to be. Nick Fury has always been this type of character, whether he was white or black, that always had a plan like Batman. Always had a plan. Always was already 5 steps ahead of the enemy, 5 steps enemy of his friends. And just in case something happened, he always had a plan. And this show kind of took a shit on all of that, because now it's just like, okay, well, all the Skrulls did everything for him. So the mystique of Nick Fury is gone now. That really left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know about you, but I was like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that, there was the scene with what's his name's character, Ben Mendelsohn's character, Talos, saying that we did everything for you. We were your spy network and everything. You wouldn't be Nick Fury without us. And you would be pushing papers in the office just like you were in Captain Marvel. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, this dude really didn't do shit. What has he done? So, like, to me, they kind of broke the whole character of Nick Fury down to me. I just didn't like that. Also, I didn't like how why couldn't Nick Fury be the one to take down Gravik? I just didn't understand why Gia got the Super Skrull powers. I feel like I know Samuel Jackson is old and shit, but
Yes, I was gonna say. Go ahead.
But still, he could have did something. I don't know, man. Gee, it made no sense. But I just didn't like that. Also, again, with staying on the powers, to Gia, Emilia Clarke's character, becoming a Super Skrull along with Gravik, how do you resolve that now? Does the powers fade away? Does she have them permanently now? because she truly is the strongest character in the MCU. I think even on the scanner that showed all the powers, it was like Black Panther. And how the hell did they get Black Panther's powers? Everybody can't get Black Panther's powers. And that's that's the biggest problem with the MCU. You guys do not have a plan. You guys do not get together. Everybody is just writing whatever they want to write. We saw this in Star Wars. And it's no surprise that it's Disney, a Disney-owned IP. There is no care for continuity. You can't just have Black Panther's powers. There's a whole process to become a Black Panther. You can't just say we got Black Panther's powers. You know what I'm saying? That makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then like someone even made a joke on Twitter because like when her arm transformed to Drax's arm, they were like, "Oh, she gets Drax tattoos as well."
Right.
I was like, who's taking care of the continuity? Who's taking care of detail here? MCU fans are very picky and very petty and are going to be pointing out and looking for shit. They always do this. You know what I'm saying? So like it's like they don't care. And also, why didn't the Skrulls kill everybody that they cloned? Like all the like Rhodey and everybody. Why did they just have them, at the bottom of the base? They should have killed Rhodey. I mean, of course I don't want to kill him, but I'm just saying they should have killed him after they got what they need. Kill him.
I think they said something. I don't remember it. I don't know if you saw this part. Maybe I saw it wrong. I thought they said they kept him alive for a certain reason of like to get further information. I think like when they changed into him, they can't get all the information from him at once. And so like they can go back to the bodies and like touch their head or something and grab information or do something, which is stupid. But I think that was their way of trying to say like this is why they didn't just kill them instead of, I think I think they gave an excuse, but I think it was a lame excuse.
Exactly. Also, the other thing too is the president. Like he already knew something was kind of wrong with Rhodey in the beginning of the series. Like when Rhodey was talking to him, he had the alcohol on his breath. He should have known. Like he already noticed it. He's like, dude, Rhodey, you had too many drinks.
Yep.
Like you should have known something was wrong with Rhodey's professionalism and his willing to be offensive and ready to attack Russia. Well, you should have known something wrong. You got Nick Fury, who you've worked with your whole career, and he's telling you that this dude is an alien, and you don't want to believe him. It's just like, come on, man. Like the writing was just weak. The writing was just weak. There was, it's just people just writing just to write. They're not caring about the continuity. They're not caring about the context. They're not bringing in the idea from the ideas and everything has been said before them. And I know we have a lot of Marvel MCU films now, but that's just not an excuse. That's why you got to have some kind of committee. You got to have some like MCU committee that stays upon the details. You got to have, hey, we can't do this because Rhodey showed blood in Endgame. We can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like for the director to come out and say, oh, I think he was a Skrull since Civil War.
That just hurts everybody at that point. Yeah. You sound stupid now. Exactly. I was just gonna say I just want to touch on some things that you say because you brought up some good points and I wanted to add to it. So when you were talking about his character arc and how it seems like he didn't do shit now, to me it was just that was a whole far-fetched conversation. Did y'all really do everything for Nick Fury? Like he ain't do shit. Like basically you killed everybody, you did everything, and then you just said, hey, let me turn into this person and promote you. And if that is the case, like you said, why even have the character of Nick Fury, right? Because when you go back and you read the comics, I mean, obviously Marvel took its liberties with Nick Fury, and it's a different character than it is kind of in the book. Like Nick Fury was a soldier. He was in the military. He even had like this, I won't say it's not super soldier serum, but he had like this something that happened to him that kind of like helped him stay a little bit younger so he didn't age as fast as everybody else. So they did a different take on him in the MCU. But like you were saying, they set it up to where he was the mastermind, like the Batman of everything. Like, I think ahead of you. I know what's going on. I can inspire you, like he did the Avengers when he gave that big speech to them, even though Coulson didn't, had the whole thing with Coulson and everything. Like, it made it seem like he was this huge figure that controlled so many different elements of what was going on, not only with the Avengers, but in the government as a whole. He basically helped take down what's the guy's name that was in Captain America Civil War? He helped
the Hydra
Captain
guy?
America take down not Civil War, excuse me. Winter Soldier? The guy that was taking over with Hydra. Yeah, the Hydra guy. He was helping take over. He helped Captain America with that whole situation and basically got them out the paint. Like, he was doing his thing, and he was set up as like this huge character, and it just reminds me of what they did with Luke Skywalker and how like they totally changed the character at the very end. You know what I mean? Like, Luke went from this crazy, powerful, strong Jedi who had this sense of hope and I'm not gonna let this happen to my father, and he put his lightsaber down when the Emperor was getting ready to strike him, and then took the electrical strikes. Like, I'm not, like, he would never do what he did in The Last Jedi, where he just gives up on his, not only another Jedi, but his nephew, right? And try to kill him. Like, that was so stupid. Like, it's like, as a writer and as a person coming up with these stories, and if you do care about the source material at all, why would you do that to Luke? And so when you were talking about how they did that with Nick, that reminded me of that. And it's just like, you're taking away everything this character stood for. And I hope he can redeem himself, because he's in the Marvels and he's in another movie after this. So hopefully he can redeem himself, or we get a little more insight to what actually happened. But that whole conversation with Talos and then everything that happened in the movie, it was just like, man, they're showing him to be really weak. So I do agree with you on that. The president thing is interesting too, because it's just like you said, how do you not believe a guy who's been working with you for the last 30 years? You know, he obviously hasn't been a president for that long, but he's been in the government. He's worked his way up to become president. And so how do you not trust him? And Brody, like you said, coming to him with alcohol in his breath, and he basically got Talos killed and all this other stuff. It's just like, come on, man. Like, what are they doing? It'll be interesting to see what they do with him, because obviously we know that Sergeant Ross is becoming the president now, right?
Correct. In
so
America.
Yeah, so it'll be good to see him get his ass out of here then. So, because he's ridiculous, and then called for that, that Proud Boys movement at the end of the episode. So, I guess it will be good to see Sergeant Ross take over, becoming president. So that was weird. That's to me too.
It would make sense if that's probably what sparks him from maybe having to leave his presidency. I can see that happening. I mean, it would be smart to use that, to be honest. Like, okay, that's a reason why maybe he has to step down, because he started the American public went against him because he's sparked all these killings. And just one more thing too, a lot of people were talking about, they didn't understand why he would do something. He would spark all these people to kill all these aliens, these supposed aliens or whatever, when your world has been attacked by aliens multiple times, and it's just like, America has literally set up a refuge, its own
for
island
Asgardians,
right? So it's like, bro, the writing, bro, it's just, man.
But just to add to your thing about the president thing, you are correct. That could be a reason that they do use that to get Sergeant Ross out, because Nick Fury even says, he goes, you doing stuff that sounds really like a one-term president. So you're right. That he says that verbatim. So that is probably, them alluding to he won't be president for much longer, and that's a good thing. But your final point I want to touch on before we switch over is, you were talking about continuity and just how this stuff doesn't make sense. And I fully agree, man, because it's like, at first it seemed like Marvel could do no wrong because everything tied together. You watched Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, you watched Captain America, Winter Soldier, like, they left little breadcrumbs throughout all these movies, not just about Thanos, but just about other stuff that was happening down the line. Like, you can look at other movies and you get like, oh, that started from Thor 1, or that happened in Thor 2, and it seemed like they could do no wrong because everything tied together. Whatever happened since Endgame, it just seems like they stopped meeting, or they stopped coming together to talk about stuff, and it's like, oh, let's just give every director the freedom to do what they want. While in essence, I do want a director to have creative direction, you need to let them know. You need to stay within bounds of what we're doing, because all of these movies, or at least 95% of them, tie in together. we are telling a comic book. We are making a comic book world. All this stuff goes together. You can't have, except for your one outliers here and there. You can't have a lot of these movies just going off on their own, doing their own thing, and then trying to reference stuff later. And it's just not going to work. So, like you were saying, they got to figure out. They got to get in the writers' room with these people and be like, "Yo, this is the plan we have for this character. Let's just say this is the plan we have for Namor. Make sure you write about Namor in this way in this movie. Make sure you write about Namor in this way in this movie because we need to talk about him in this movie in the future." So I don't know, man. It seemed like they used to do it, or maybe they were just getting lucky. You know what I mean? Maybe we were so enamored by the characters at that point that we didn't really care. But it seems like right now, since the main Avengers are gone, and then with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman and everything that went on with Wakanda Forever, even though it was a great film, it's like they're looking for somebody to take over, and they can't really find it yet. The stuff going on with Spider-Man, now we got the writer's strike, and it's just like them trying to do all 17 TV shows in a calendar year, and half of them not hitting, and I don't know, man. They're gonna have to figure it out, but they're gonna have to have a come to Jesus moment and just talk amongst each other and try to figure out like what it is that they got to do to get it back on track. And it starts with them making sure that this stuff ties and goes together. Because when he said that Homeboy was taken in Civil War, I was like, you gotta be kidding. That just totally takes Rhodey off of everything. Like any moment he had after that means nothing. So it's unfortunate. The show could have been so much better. And then my last really quick thing was, this didn't need to be a show. This needed to be an entire arc. It needs to be an entire phase, in my opinion, Jay.
I agree.
You have to build up in other movies. Like this could have been the Secret Invasion phase, where it's just like, now, technically Captain Marvel should have been the first movie in a new phase called the Secret Invasion phase. And that is where you show Talos and everybody come in, and all the subsequent movies in that phase, more and more stuff starts happening. You start seeing people who you didn't even expect to be Skrulls. Like you have to start seeding that throughout an entire phase. You can't just say Secret Invasion TV show. Like that was a whole comic book arc. Like you know what I mean? Like it totally changed the MCU from that one comic book arc. And so if you're gonna do that, it's great that you gave it 6 episodes, and that's kind of like 5 to 6 hours worth of content, but you have to have an entire phase to actually get the point across of this being a looming threat. Because even now, you're just like, oh, well, Skrulls are done. Back to the MCU as we know it. You know what I mean? And and last thing, someone made a comment, or they even showed the picture on Instagram, and they were like, it's just funny how Captain Marvel went to that planet to kill with the Avengers to kill Thanos when they got there, and then the homegirl cut his head off. That's a planet you could have given the Skrulls right there.
Hey,
nobody on it, Jay. Green grass, trees, fruit, animals. Could have took the Skrulls off right there. You could have told Nick Fury about it, because she's supposedly working with Nick Fury to find them a home. You didn't think that would be a good home after Thanos died?
You're right.
Okay. So I was just like, yep, yeah, you got it. So I hate it, but if I'm gonna rate it, it's probably a 4 out of 10 for me, for sure.
Yeah, I give it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah,
I really wanted to enjoy it.
Me too. I was invested. It just didn't go anywhere.
Well, hopefully Captain Marvel is supposed to be the Marvels is supposed to be a direct sequel to Secret Invasion, so I guess we'll see if that truly is a direct sequel.
And we didn't even get into the Nick Fury with the Skrull thing. We didn't even get into that.
Oh yeah, we did.
We didn't even get into that. But hey, whatever floats his boat, I guess. So that honestly, that whole sequence and the character and him, that didn't even need to be in it, to be honest with you, in my personal opinion. But cool for them. It gives us more backstory for Nick, I guess. Shows that he cared about the Skrulls more so than just being a weapon, I guess, if you want to say that.
Right. That seemed like it all. That's all it was really trying to say was he has been really invested with the scrolls. But we kind of knew that because even when he goes up to sword, he has all the scrolls up there working for him and stuff like that.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I mean, hey.
Yep. We'll see.
It exists.
Really quickly, Jay, what do you think about the Invincible season 2 short trailer they gave us? You ready for that?
I've been ready, man. I've been ready. I mean, I feel like how long has it been since the first season? I feel like it's been 4 years.
2021, right?
2021.
So about 2 years. Yeah, it's been 2 years. It feels like 10 years because I don't understand how you can give us 6 or 8 episodes and then we don't hear from you for over 24 months. But yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about is they said that this is going to be 8 episodes, and for as long as we've been waiting, we should have at least 16. you know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure what is going on. Why is the production of the show so in a frenzy and is so difficult? I'm confused. Like I don't like. Do they not want to make the show, or is there some inside political stuff that we don't know about that's happening behind the scenes? But it just doesn't make sense for if for 8 episodes and take this long for the show to get done. I don't understand. Like we've had 3 seasons of The Boys already. We're about to get the Boys season 4. They've come out with a spinoff. Yeah, Gen V? So yeah, like I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. Is the animation too difficult to do? Does it take too long? Like, damn, Demon Slayer comes out every year.
Yeah, I'm about to say. And that's an anime. Anime leaves you hanging for years, bro.
Exactly. So there gotta be some behind the scenes shit going on that we just don't know about. That's like, not letting this show be as great as it could be. Because after this season's over, you don't tell me you gotta wait 2 more years, 3 more years for this show to come out again. I'm be honest. I'm starting to. This season better be fucking good. I'm telling you now, it better be good.
It has to be, bro. It has to be because, man, yeah, I'm with you 100%. It looks good from the trailer, but I don't know what's going on with the wait. It's just I don't understand that at all. And like you said, we better not wait another 2 years for 8 episodes. You better get in that room and start drawing them damn characters, man. I'm sorry, like it just. The show is too good. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we get 3 seasons of The Boys, a spinoff, all this. Like, bro, you can't give us 1 season of Invincible every year at the same time, or like relatively at the same time. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see about that going forward. But it does look good. And Jay, if you haven't seen it yet, they did a 1 episode special about Adam Eve and like how she came to be. So it was actually pretty good.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Next thing on the list, man. I know this is one of your favorite games. It's probably my favorite fighting game of all time. We got Mortal Kombat 1 coming out late September this year, and they announced the DLC characters for that. How are you feeling about the characters, and how are you just feeling about the game overall as a whole?
Oh, I am highly excited. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find time between Starfield and Mortal Kombat, but after playing Street Fighter 6, I'm having a great time with Street Fighter 6. But Street Fighter 6 does get stale to a certain point. It just, in my opinion, Mortal Kombat is the best fighting game that has ever existed. It just is. There's so many combos, there's so many moves and all kind of stuff that you can do. There's just more characters.
The lore is better too. Yeah.
Yes, that's another thing. The lore is better. There's Mortal Kombat has strayed away from the type of arcade fighter that Street Fighter is. Street Fighter doesn't really have like a true linear story that you can follow. Mortal Kombat does, and even then, there's just Mortal Kombat just offers you so much. It's a complete gaming experience. Street Fighter and Tekken. I just want to get back to being able to do all kinds of different combos. I think like Street Fighter, you can really only do like your combos is very limited. It's really, Street Fighter is more of a, you make the wrong move, you get your ass kicked, type of game.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat is like at any point anybody can come back. It's like
Hmm.
it's a true fighter game. Like at any point you thought you had me, I got a little bit of life left, but it'll take me one combo to get me back into the game, and it's over. So it's just so many things you can do in Mortal Kombat. So it's like I said, it's just a better fighting game. So I'm excited for it. I want to see what they do with this new era where Liu Kang has rebooted the whole universe. I just want to see what they do with it, man. I want to see where Mortal Kombat goes from here. It's been legendary franchise, and I would love to see them incorporate some of the movie characters as well from the actual Mortal Kombat 2 movie that's coming out. Well, pause filming, but yeah, I would love to see some of that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. My favorite part is like the whole Lin Kuei situation, and then Sub-Zero and Scorpion being brothers. Now, that is the most interesting part of this whole game to me. Honestly, if you can land that part of the game, I'm good, because that just seems like a cool idea to me, that they're brothers instead of from rival clans. And then seeing the little smoke trailer and finding out that even though he's not their blood brother in the game, he's like their adopted brother basically, because he was taken under their wing. So that's cool. Can't wait to see that. I wonder if Cyrax and what's the other dude? Sector. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to be in the game or not, or if they're going to talk about them at all. So that'll be cool to see that. This Lee May character, you may know more about it, but I don't remember. Yes. Has she been in the games before?
Yeah, she has. She actually has been in the game, but Mortal Kombat has a giant catalog of fighters. Lee May isn't like a character that like.
She like from Deception or all those games? Because I don't remember her in like 1, 2, and 3.
I think the last time I think Lee May was in a game was in Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Okay.
So, and that's when they had like over 100 characters in there. But I think she was in Mortal Kombat 4 at one point. Yeah, but yeah, she's like I said, I don't know if I wouldn't say she's a popular character, but she's been a character that hasn't been in the recent games as of late. So it's good to see.
Her powers look fire though.
Yeah, it does. Her and Tanya, we get to have Tanya back too. So
Tanya's back. Yeah.
Yep. So she hasn't been in the game for a while. So yeah, it's good.
Do we know if Jade is gonna be in the game? Do we know if she's gonna be in it or not? Jade was always a cool character to me.
As of right now, I don't know, but we do have Tanya. I don't remember 2 black female characters being in the game.
That is very true. Also, that is very true.
So we you can have Jax. You'll have Jax and a black woman, but I don't remember 2 black women in the same game. So, but yeah, so agree. Maybe Jade. Maybe Tanya is taking Jade's place for this game.
Yeah. Also interesting too was the whole Tarkatan disease that Baraka gets, and so that's why they look like that instead of it being like just them as a people. So I'm interested to see how they touch on that too, because that was really, really interesting. So yeah, man. The story so far looks like it's pretty cool. Looks like it's going to be good. What do you think about Omni-Man and Homelander being in the DLC?
Oh man, this is probably one of the best DLC characters I've ever seen in Mortal Kombat.
I feel you.
Yeah,
Omni-Man is cool. Brutal, so he fits perfectly in Mortal Kombat. Yeah. They couldn't got it. And Homelander too. Homelander just making his appearance in all video games this year. Call of Duty, now in Mortal Kombat, like crazy.
They are milking him. That's amazing. That's really cool. I'm very surprised they were able to pull that off. But yeah, man, that DLC pack. That's the first DLC pack. Just think what we're gonna get after that. So
right.
So yeah, I'm excited. Man. I'm excited.
Yeah. Trying to think. Was there anything else about Mortal Kombat? No, that was it. The movie. The
cameo characters.
I'm guessing.
There's gonna have the cameo fighters too. So like even characters.
Yep.
Some of the characters won't be main fighters, but you can use characters from the past like Jax as cameo fighters to come assist you in battle, like some kind of tag attack. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. It'd be interesting to what they do with Raiden too. Like, does Raiden remember that he was the God of Thunder? Is he trying to get back to being the God of Thunder? So it's
You're right.
that whole storyline is going to be interesting. But I'm glad that he's in the game, and I'm glad that he's an Asian character in the game because it always seemed like he wasn't Asian. So I'm glad that they actually, brought him back as an Asian character.
Right, I never understood that. Like I think in Mortal Kombat, the last one, like he was straight up a white dude.
Yeah,
I didn't understand. I didn't understand that, but okay. His choice was that Ed Boon. So I'm glad. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm glad they fixed that because that never made any sense.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it should be a good game. I won't play it as long as you. I'm more. Let me get through the story, get a couple fights under my belt. I'm more of the story guy for Mortal Kombat, but I will be buying it 100% for sure. So
I'm actually gonna play through Mortal Kombat 11, the story mode and a DLC story, one more time for final time before I uninstall it.
Is the DLC story necessary for Mortal Kombat 11?
Hell yes. I
don't think I played the DLC. I only did the regular game.
This is the first time in Mortal Kombat's history where they've added like a DLC, additional story that actually continues. It's like Mortal Kombat 11 2.
Interesting.
In a way. So it's actually a story, and it actually, this story pretty much creates the events that happens in Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to try to get it then. If it's cheap, I'll probably try to get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Other games coming out for August. We got Baldur's Gate 3. I never played the first two. So, Jay, you ever play those?
I haven't played any of them, but Baldur's Gate, I think I may have to get onto it. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons RPG type of game. Apparently, there are over 150 cutscenes that your character, because this is also a game, like Bioware type of game where you make choices and certain things happen and stuff like that. So your choices impact your story. So then there's a lot of content apparently, and it's going to be going to get Starfield for one of the best RPGs of the year.
Yep, for sure. We got Baldur's Gate coming out on August 3rd. We got Stray coming out on August 10th. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The game actually looks pretty interesting. I think is it going to be like the Dead by Daylight type games?
It does seem like it.
Okay.
Got to look at it and see, find out a little bit more about it. But I do think it is going to be that type of game.
Okay. So we got that on August 18th. People still playing Madden. That comes out August 18th as well. Immortals of Avium. That was the game that reminded me of what Avowed should have been. So we'll see how that game. If that game gets good reviews, I might try to see how that game is. That comes out August 22nd. And then Armored Core. I've never really been interested in it, but they showed like the little CGI trailer for it, and that comes out August 25th. So, got a lot of good games coming up. And then, as I mentioned earlier, as Jay mentioned, 31 days till Starfield. So everyone get ready for that. We'll definitely be waiting on that. To me, that has the potential to be game of the year. We just see if they can stick the landing. Everything looked good from the showcase. So, man, I've been watching videos on YouTube, getting ready. So we'll see, man. We will see.
Yep. It's a lot of big rest second half of the year, I guess.
For sure.
So a lot of games to be played.
Yeah. I was gonna get into some of the writer strike / the SAG after stuff, but I think we should probably wait till Marv gets back on that. I know it's going to be a bigger topic, and that'll probably be another 20-30 minutes just discussing everything that goes on with that. And I know that hits home with you for sure, because that's what you do. So on our next episode, we'll dive into that a little bit deeper.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for listening as always. And we got some big things coming later this year. We got Starfield coming up, so I know Jay and I will probably be doing some walkthroughs and some videos talking about that. And hopefully with Starfield being as big as it is, maybe we can do some extra videos on that and just dive deeper into everything that you can do in that game. So be on the lookout for big stuff coming from us. But again, thank y'all, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms. Catch us over on Spotify at the SHU Program and any other DSPs that you prefer to listen to podcasts on. Also follow us over on Instagram at the SHU Program. Follow us on Twitter at SHU_program. And also tap in with us, man. Ask any questions. Feel free to follow, DM us, reach out. If you like anything, follow us on YouTube. Please let us know, man. We really, really appreciate you all listening. We appreciate you all's feedback and tapping in with us content-wise, man. We would love to get to know you and figure out who's listening to us and what you all would like to see, and just for showing us consistent love week after week. Thank you all so much.